That's right.
The button. That's the button. That's the other button. And we're recording. The link is out. Let's actually test to see if that works. Yeah, there we go. So that's good.
Oh, they revealed the rest of the idols for shiny colors.
Oh yeah, I saw that they did that, but I didn't look at the rest of the idols.
Uh, I love one is because her name is Chiyoko, which sounds like Choco. She became the idol that's obsessed about chocolate.
Ah,
So I said, "Oh, it's Neo Kaneko." They also have one that's like the sort of tough tomboy, but has a sweet side.
oh yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, they're gonna do an illustration of her picking up the cat that's been abandoned in the box." They always do that.
Yep.
Always do.
All right.
Oh, out of the 230, I'm up to 208 for the book illustrations.
Lovely.
All right. And then I got to make like a cover and a table index.
Yep.
I'll probably upload it through the same thing I have that mega thing because that'll be the easiest way
Gotcha.
to do a large.
All right. Give me a second, and then we'll start.
Uh,
All right. Ready?
yep.
In three, two. Hang on. If I can always do this, give me a second. Okay. In three, two. Welcome to NTR Radio. I'm Tom First Nibus.
And I'm VZ Mark II.
Okay, guys, isn't here today.
Not this time.
So before we jump into anything, I actually remembered this time to participate in the show. Here's what you can do. Head on over to ntrradio.net, click on one of the two chat links. It'll bring you to the same page. Give yourself a nickname, hit the button, join us in the IRC channel. Alternatively, take your favorite IRC client, point it at irc.ryzen.net, and join us in the pound or hash SLC media channel. In addition, you can get at us on Twitter at TEAnubis, at VZMK2, at NTR radio, and as always, the email box is ntrradio@gmail.com. So I'll be real. I haven't watched a whole hell of a lot this week. I've mostly actually been prepping for Anime Boston, which is in a few weeks.
Cool.
Yeah, I actually need to get the material for the hentai panel all set.
Yeah, I've been preparing for the next show's topic.
Yeah. Do
which
do
will
we
be
want to foreshadow that, or and when I say foreshadow, I mean say exactly what we're going to talk about next show, or do we want to let that hang a bit?
we'll let it hang since it's just
All
us
right.
two. You know, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be. Gonna,
So yeah, I haven't watched a whole hell of a lot, but I did get a new figure in.
right.
Okay. So remember that time? I'm pretty sure I said this on the show. Remember that time I said I'm not that into androids, and
But then you got like two or something.
ended up getting like two two androids, now three with this new one. I actually pre-ordered this one back. I believe it was fall 2017. As
I
soon
think
as
I
I
know.
saw it, I said, as
I
soon
know
as I saw
who.
it, I'm like, number one, there's no way I'm not pre-ordering this Nendoroid. And number two, this is probably the most time enforced this Nendoroid I could probably have in my possession. This
Okay.
is the Nendoroid Mio Asato from the Little Armory line.
Right. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
Like it's the single most predictable Nendoroid I could ever own.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they're doing other ones as Nendoroids. I don't know. They put up a new Figma one.
If
She has like
if
twin tails.
if they want, yeah, I'm probably gonna getting that one as well. But if they want more Nendoroid money from me, sure, they'll absolutely do more Nendoroids from this Little Armory line.
And
She
I
she comes with
got
a
an
she comes
Nendoroid.
with a tiny
Oh,
M4.
yeah.
It's, it's just the cutest, most ridiculous thing.
Are those target things on the box?
Yeah, yeah. You cut them out and then set them up as
Oh, God.
little tiny little silhouettes.
Does she have any other weapons or?
No, but she is compatible with like the rest of the Little Armory weapons. They're gonna look comical because they're all Figma scale and she's an Android, but that's basically what Androids are for. They're to look ridiculous.
Right. So I got an Android.
Here we go.
Uh, predictable for you. Mine is kind of predictable for me, almost. This is I-chan from.
From uh shit Tawawa on Monday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. Here's the thing. This one, the shipping was a little bit more because there's a reason. It was a little bit heavier. For it comes with Sorry, man. You can put an Android head on there too. Oh, and wait. This is the other great accessory. Hold on. Now, normal torso, right? Hard,
Yes.
hard, right?
Yes.
Hold on. This is
Oh
gonna be
no.
great.
So for the visual gimmick, VZ is separating the arms from the Nendroid's torso.
And the head.
Now the head.
And the legs.
Legs going off too. And now the legs, arms, and head are now going onto a new torso.
I don't know why this is not going in right. Oh, that's right. It's kind of tough to fit in there. I don't know. I don't want to overshove it. I don't use this torso,
Yes.
but I just.
That's one thing. That's one thing about posable figures for me. It's like I'm always scared I'm gonna like break it when I'm
Oh yeah.
switching all the stuff around.
Okay. Super soft torso.
Wow. Wow. So again, for the visual gimmick, the new torso has soft breasts. That's ridiculous.
Thank you for hugging my chest. I don't mind at all. See? Hashtag me too.
Workplace harassment.
Did you ever see Tower on Monday?
No, I haven't, but it's something I've been meaning to watch for a while.
Yeah, you'll like it. It's really short. Each episode's like only 4 minutes, and there's like I think like 13 in an extra episode, so like 14.
Right. Because I've seen a whole bunch of
The
the
comic,
comic. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, yeah, where it's that blue tinted artwork.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. The blue tin was kind of weird for me at first, but it grew on me.
Yeah, it's kind of an unusual, but it works. I actually, but before I talk about what I'm watching, I actually tried out a visual novel on my phone.
Oh,
Well, there's a caveat. Okay, okay. So the name of the visual novel is called uh, "If My Heart Had Wings."
okay. I've heard that. I've heard of that one.
All right. It's a neutered release because in actuality, it has like porn. It was an arrow gay,
Right.
and the version on the phone has no porn and no voices for the characters.
Ah.
But you know what? I downloaded the HCG separately so I can see. Um, but playing it through, it's actually kind of cute. It's a cute little thing. Um, it's not done by her, but the art style looks like Noizo Ito.
Mm,
Um, you know the one that the Haruhi light novels and
right.
Check Against Shana.
Yep.
It looks similar to that. It's cute. Main guy goes to a new school. There's a bunch of girls. Main girl is in a wheelchair.
Hmm.
They're probably gonna fly in a plane in a glider at some point because they've been
Ah.
foreshadowing this glider that one of the other characters is working on. Ooh. Lovely. All right. So you said you haven't been watching anything.
No.
Nah. Okay.
Yeah.
Um.
Mostly it's been A/B prep and just other stuff I'm working on.
Okay. Um. Well, I've been watching the stuff for the besides the stuff for the season, next show. Also watching the shows of the season. Uh, your camp is definitely my favorite show of the season.
Yeah,
But
seeing a lot of that on Twitter. I definitely need to get into it.
uh, it's such a cute show. Followed by Miss Koizumi Loves Ramen Noodles. Followed by what's the other one I've been watching? Mitsubishi Colors, which I watched today.
That's another one I need to get into.
Yeah, I know that one. Slow Start is okay. That's a take it or leave it. It's really average.
Ah,
Even though it looks nice at times, it. I don't know. It's like you've seen a lot of the stuff before, but you've seen it done more interesting. I don't know. Maybe because there's just other stuff this season that is far more intriguing for it. And what's the other one? Takunomi. That's all right too. That's the one with the that's the drinking one.
right. That's another one I need to check out.
Yeah,
That one just looks interesting.
yeah. Although I like the one from last season that was also about alcohol. Um, what was that called? Oh, Love is Like a Cocktail.
Yeah.
That one I like. Yeah, I love when they make these shorts. That's
See,
kind of you know,
I, there's some shorts I really want to get into, but I keep forgetting they exist because they're shorts, and most of the stuff, like most of the real big stuff, is TV anime.
well, some stuff now you can watch it because it's done,
Well,
so
yeah,
you can watch. You can watch Tawawa on Monday. You can watch Galco uh, or Ponde Peace.
yeah. I don't know. A while back, there was this short I watched. I watched a few episodes of it, and I think I got about halfway through it, called Military, except the
Oh
Y
yeah,
is an
yeah, yeah.
I. Yeah.
How was that? I only saw like an episode.
It
I
was
know.
fun. Like it's not a masterpiece or anything, but it's a fun little anime.
Mm, yeah, they're doing another in the summer season. They're doing another Cinderella Girls Geki. Oh,
That's good. That's good for the Idolmaster franchise.
yeah. I mean, I kind of knew they were. I mean, it's a cheap show to animate, and they got so many idols to use, so much fodder.
Right. I don't know. Is it not to actually cover this this next season, but I took a peek at the next season chart, and there's some stuff that's becoming highly anticipated for me.
There's a couple, not a lot though. There's one definitely all three of us are gonna watch. I think we know what.
Uh,
There's one definitely all three of us are gonna look at.
I think I know which one, but then, well, yeah, yeah, no. If it's the one I'm thinking of, then we're definitely gonna look at that one. But yeah, for for the most part, it's been a pretty relaxing 2 weeks.
Mm, it's been all right. Some days better than others,
Yeah,
but we can mellow it out. Um, and but again, just preparing for the next show.
yeah.
Maybe I might look around and see if there's anything else. But honestly, I think I'm covered for, and so that means you got to get to watching those.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. I think that's it for the first. Half.
Yeah, yeah. So we're a man down, so we're gonna roll into the break here. Keep it right here on NTR Radio.
Okay. Military. All right. We love our military. All right. So I'll be right back.
Roger.
There you go.
There we go.
Uh, there's an Android you should get.
Which one?
The reissue for Umar-chan.
I might actually I might not get that myself, but I probably might actually get that for the store just because I know
Ah.
they'll sell.
No, but it's the accessories, man. That's
Eh,
great accessories.
I might keep one for myself.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. That's the cola and all the different snacks and the little PSP.
All right,
Yeah.
let me grab some of the stuff for the second segment. There.
Yeah. Oh, only on the Japanese website, toy website, can you get a was it World War II German Army Tiger One early production Das Reich Division turret number S-33 Dofu Tiger.
Actually, I think there's a what's that, a model kit?
um, is it a kit? Yeah, I think yeah, it's a kit.
Yeah, there's a store not too far from me that sells World War II model kits, and they have plenty of German stuff.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if they have that exact variant in loadout, but they got plenty of German World War II military hardware. All right, ready on second segment.
Yep.
Let me get this drop in ready.
Bray Forrester says that's a mouthful.
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
All right. In 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to NTR Radio. So before we commence to bullshitting for a while, we have a little bit of news, tiny bit. Let's news. Let me turn the volume up before we news. Now let's news.
Let's news. Working to restore power.
Okay, and this is kind of news, kind of Schadenfreude. Evidently, ANN has been having problems paying their freelancers.
Who has?
ANN.
Oh, ANN.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I posted a series of tweets in the one tweet, a series of images in the IRC. And the basic gist of it is it's a pretty back and forth exchange concerning ANN's problems paying their freelancers. So the first one is, in all seriousness, you should probably think twice about working for a certain trusted anime news source because they rely heavily on unpaid interns for their news and have been failing to pay freelance writers for years. I've lost count of how many people I've heard this from by now.
Wow.
The next one is a tweet from Ann and Lindsay quoting that tweet, saying that this is a complete lie. The next is Zach responding to Lindsay with, I recently forgot to follow up with Ultimate Mega X's regarding his invoices for work he did for us in October. I'm presently trying to remedy that and deeply regret the error. And then the next one is a response to that saying, I actually just realized I never got paid for the Persona 5 article from May last year. So, and there's a lot of people hyperbolizing about it on Twitter. And to be fair, they're making an effort to pay the people that did the work for them. And Zach handles all that stuff personally. So it's kind of a running around with like a chicken with your head cut off situation to keep track of all these people doing work for you, all these people providing articles and whatnot. That said, it's not a good look, and they should probably have people on that, but they don't. And there's, as far as I'm concerned, there's basically no excuse.
Yeah, if they had a better tracking of who works, then but apparently, yeah, it seems to rely on freelance writing, and there isn't someone to keep a list of the freelancers.
Oh yeah, they don't have a dedicated person to be on keeping track of freelancers, making sure they get paid, and making sure that any problems with that are resolved. It's all Zach, and this is based on stuff he said. It's all him keeping track of that, which I get that's a lot to keep track of, but at the same time, why isn't there someone keeping track of this? Because the people should get paid for work they agreed to get paid for.
I don't know. Seems
that to me is just.
I'm not surprised.
Honestly, I am surprised because they're supposed to be a professional organization, and realistically, I shouldn't be surprised, but I am surprised because they're supposed to be a professional organization. They're supposed to be the most trusted name in anime news out here, and comes out that a whole bunch of people who wrote for them just didn't get paid, or got paid, or they're sorting out them getting paid months later. It's not a good look. It really isn't a good look, and especially it isn't a good look while they're out here with the banner at the top of their site saying good journalism costs money. Yes, it does. Pay your people.
Well, it also seems hypocritical when they complain about the anime industry in Japan not paying their animators.
Yeah,
it's like maybe you should worry about your own people first, and then worry about what goes over there.
And well, I mean, to a certain extent, that's just reporting on news, but at the same time,
I get it.
It's not good to be out here not paying your people while you're talking about people not getting paid. It just doesn't look good to an extent.
I got a bit of news, although maybe it'll play into a future episode, but I guess we could bring it up now.
All right.
But apparently the company that does the books, Paladin, I forgot it. The role playing game books for Robotech. The license has expired. And they're not renewing it. And it's not. Like all those Robotech fans.
Yes, all 7 of them.
Yeah, that's the biggest. That's the biggest mark. Don't ever buy. I'm not really saying you in particular, but I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
Don't ever buy this company called Toynami that they still put out figures of like with the Robotech banner on it, and it's like don't support any of that because they're bullshit.
I actually think that was I read an article pretty recently on that, and I think give me a second. I need to look this up because I'm not sure if it was Torinami, but I believe originally no, it wasn't Torinami. To so a little bit of context. I was reading some articles about Harmony Gold because that was our original topic. Was the Macross saga and all of Harmony Gold and the Macross license. I was reading up with some of their stuff on some of Harmony Gold's problems with the BattleTech license.
Mm.
And evidently where this all started was 1992 when FASA tried to license a deal with US manufacturer Playmates. And the deal fell through, but Playmates started putting out robot toys that look suspiciously like BattleTech designs. So FASA sued Playmates, but lost. And then one of Playmates' partners, Harmony Gold, decided to countersue. And that's where this all started.
Well, Playmates did come out with some of the reissued toys of Robotech, which were originally done by Matchbox in the 80s.
Yeah, so what I'm saying though is Playmates and FASA, who originally made BattleTech, wanted to do a BattleTech line, but that deal fell through. But Playmates went and put out Timberwolf toys that look suspiciously like the Timberwolf from BattleTech. Anyway, and so when FASA sued them and lost, Harmony Gold retaliated, and this is how we get this 2+ decade long saga.
Yeah, it seems like all they do
versus BattleTech.
It seems like all Harmony Gold does is worry about suing and instead of actually producing anything worth instead of actually producing, they spend all their money on legalities and shit.
Oh yeah, because
and that's why
and not to get too deep into this because this is a proper topic that we're going to do at a point in the future.
right.
But they basically exist now to perpetuate the lie that they told in 84 was when Robotech came out.
85.
The collective lie they told in 1985 where Robotech is a real thing and not just 3 completely unrelated anime put together, which I understand was necessary at the time, but it created a monster. Anyway, so have you heard about this whole thing on Twitter recently where it's how to put this? So a few weeks ago, in the wake of the Black Panther premiere, Michael B. Jordan, who played the antagonist in the movie, came out and said, "I love Vacation in Tokyo. I love anime. It's the best." And then a couple weeks ago, Kim Kardashian had posted a picture of 02 from Jonathan and the Franks on Instagram, and for some reason that became like a whole real big thing.
I know, because of the whole some people were saying, oh, they're not really anime fans, they're just like celebrities showing basically the whole like thing that it could be people like me, but I don't go around doing that. where it's like, oh, you're not a real fan if you're not, buying the figures, listening to the music of the shows, you know what I mean? Being like really knee deep otaku in it.
Well,
And it's like,
to me, it's more like you don't have a victim mentality complex about this stuff, so you're not a real anime fan. That's what it's coming off to me as, because
it's
like,
like, oh, you're not a real nerd.
why are you mad that like famous people with a lot of social clout like the same things you like? Like, why is anyone mad about that? And so later on, the anime ban posted this joke, 100% joke, about uh, uh, all these celebrities coming out as anime fans. Show me your MAL list or your my anime list, or it didn't happen. And then Miles from Crunchyroll went buck wild about the joke that the anime man told, talking about how it's gatekeeping.
Yeah, I've heard that term. Yeah, gatekeeping. It's like,
and that kind of set me off, because here's my problem with a lot of the way the anime community, and this isn't, it's far from the only community that does this, and far from the worst community that does this, as a matter of fact. But a lot of things the anime community does with regards to being anti-gatekeeping is when you start seeing gatekeeping as can only be a bad thing, you invite this inclusivity edict where now everything must suffer in the in service to inclusivity, and you that's already done almost irreparable damage to the community as it stands.
Basically, they want it where it's only for they don't want these celebrity people to be interested in this stuff because it should only be for them, is what they're thinking.
Well, yeah, and that's the problem people are having with those people. What I'm saying is, yeah, the idea that celebrities can't like anime is stupid on its face, 100%. But the people out here vilifying those people, number one, they're not making any effort to understand why those people think the way they think.
Right. It's not only the backlash; it's the backlash of the backlash.
Exactly. So they're not making an effort to understand why those people think the way they think.
Well, here's why the fear. Whenever you get something is perceived to be a once hidden unknown thing that only a few, then it becomes more well known, you sort of fear that the thing that you're into gets discovered, but the aspects that are kind of more controversial also get discovered, and then the mainstream media might pick up on that. What I'm getting?
I get what you're saying, and I understand the impulse to be concerned about that.
I'm not.
Well, no, and I get that you're not, but I understand the impulse to be concerned about that by the people out here complaining that celebrities are getting into anime. But at the same time, number one, that's not really the sentiment I get when I hear these people's rhetoric. And number two, I've never seen that happen with any other subculture. Or it'll happen where like the mainstream will discover it'll discover elements of the more niche part of the subculture, but it's not like those elements disappear. It's not like that niche of the subculture vanishes.
Well, I was gonna say, like, maybe metal community that happened to the metal community when metal became mainstream in the 80s. That also started like the whole satanic panic.
Well, yeah, but it's not like that stuff vanished.
No, but
It's not like people stopped making it. Maybe you need to, maybe those people might have retreated further underground, but I don't
well, then
necessarily think that's
concern?
that bad a thing.
Well, what is the concerns they're having is about, you know, celebrities being into anime. Did you see the one about Spears' son dressing like Frieza?
No, but I think that's amazing.
I didn't.
No, that they don't have any concerns is my problem. Is that they're just mad that, and I could speculate and say they've internalized the like social rejection struggle that they had to deal with to be into anime, and that's why they're mad. Like I could speculate and say that. I'm about 5% sure that's exactly the case.
That reminds me of a certain blue bear who recently got permabanned on Twitter. That is complaining about, why he used to be into anime, but then not anymore. Is the fact that it became mainstream, and that's such a
Number one, is still far from mainstream. But
yeah.
Number two, that's the exact kind of mentality though. Is people are mad that other people who aren't like exactly like them like anime. Other people who are socially more, not necessarily on a higher level, but like they're socially more well known and they're socially more.
I think also because when if the celebrities are into them and then the media covering the celebrities are into it, that the fears that the media doesn't understand what it is that they're into.
Media never understood.
I think it's the other thing.
But the media never understood what it is we're into. Like that's the thing.
But
like this isn't
that the celebrities would cover that, but they wouldn't. Trying to think. Well, what are some other? Because I mean, like I said, what is there? Other than, like I said, they probably.
Also, I'm saying I don't know because they don't say they're concerned, but I can speculate, and my speculation is that they've just internalized this persecution complex about being an anime fan, about being a nerd. When in reality, yes, there are things to be concerned about, but Kim Kardashian liking Darling in the Franxx isn't one of them. And tangential to that, the more people who get super concerned about whenever X, Y, or Z celebrity turns out they like anime, it devalues the fact that there really are some people in the anime community that are actually damaging it, and that should have been stopped at the gate but weren't, because due to
also like
people out here talking on who can and can't like anime among like celebrities and all that bull crap, we have this pathological fear of gatekeeping in anime.
Is it also the thing that, like, when you're into something but once your parents are and they like it too, but then it's not cool anymore because now my parents are into it? Is it one of those things?
I don't necessarily think it's one of those things. I think it's more that
like the Chip Pokemon episode in South Park.
No, I don't think it's necessarily one of those things. I think it's more that they've wrapped up the social persecution complex into being an anime fan. Like, to them, being an anime fan is having gone through all this all this like social ostracism due to be liking what they like. But to go further, the fact that we have all these people complaining about that stuff in particular devalues the fact that there are some people who are actually damaging in the community, and they should have been stopped at the gate, but were not, because of this fear we have about being gatekeepers. And so I have to ask, what's so bad about gatekeeping? Really, and realistic, because here's what here's my rationale. All the people who are, okay, how to put this? So the people out here complaining about people talking about all these celebrities like an anime. So the people complaining about celebrities like an anime think they're doing the fandom a favor by weeding out people who are damaging to the community. But that's the same thought pattern held by the people who are complaining about celebrities like an anime. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So first it's necessary to understand that. It's not necessary to understand that both sides think they're doing the exact same thing, when realistically neither side is doing what is necessary. Because here's the idea: if we're going to vilify gatekeeping, then what do we do with all these people out here calling people pedophiles over cartoons? What do we do with back in, what was it, 2013, when Free was on the horizon, and all those, and like 3 Moe fans were complaining about Kiwani making a Fujoshi anime, and they were hitting on Fujoshi. What do we do with all the cosplay photographers out there, all the quote unquote cosplay photographers out there who are using it as who are using that as a front to sexually harass and sexually assault women? What do we do with people out here who go buck wild over someone's fan art on some shipping bull crap? And harass that person into attempting suicide? Like, what do we do with those people? Is it okay to gatekeep them? Is it okay to stop them at the gate? Because either we're okay with stopping some people at the gate, or we're not okay with stopping anyone at the gate. And the difference is standards. And so the idea is there needs to be some barriers to entry at some point, because otherwise you just have you leave the community vulnerable to being taken advantage of by people who have no respect for the culture, have no respect for the people who built the culture, have no respect for the people in the culture, and are only in it to big up themselves, big up their ego, and profit from it socially, financially, or otherwise, while exploiting the culture. And this goes for not just all these people that I mentioned, but it goes for people like I'll go on a limb and say people like Anti-Fem I would count in this category, exploiting the culture for personal gain, not respecting and understanding where the culture has been, where the culture is going, and the people who built this culture, and continuing it on that paradigm for personal gain. So that's my concern. That's my concern with why with this whole anti-gatekeeping thing. it's not it's less about it's less about I'm willing to be the bad guy. It's more about I respect the subculture enough to want to enforce that, if that makes any sense.
I think I know what you're getting at.
Yeah, like I have enough respect for like I'm invested enough and have enough respect for the anime culture to want it to remain free from unnecessary outside influence. Remain free from the influence of people who don't have the best interests of the culture at heart.
That includes also like I was gonna say people that think that the Japanese government should be the ones funding anime, and I'm like, no, it's like that's a bad idea
Yeah,
because they're not gonna make things like the stuff that we're into.
yeah, that would be a writ large example of someone an outside influence on the culture that fundamentally does not have the best interests of the culture at heart. Like that would be on a much higher level, but on an individual level, what all this results in is you get people out here who just have the utmost disrespect for other fans based on their cartoon preferences. Like something that would sound stupid if you said it out loud. And this is what these people actually believe. Is like they believe if you watch the wrong cartoon, you're a pedophile, which is a ridiculous accusation to just throw around. But that's what they're willing to go on. And you have people out here who are so hypocritical that they don't see that if you want a certain if you like a certain kind of anime that just happens to be like the gender swapped opposite of the anime I like, you're a bad person. There are people out here who are so hypocritical to believe that. There are people out here who are willing to hurt other human beings over differences in relationships of fictional characters. I feel like I think it'd be nothing but a positive thing to have those people out. There are people out here who are willing who are so willing to exploit the culture that they will they will go and assume the identity of a cosplay photographer or someone high, or they'll build enterprises. They'll build entire enterprises as with the end game in mind of sexually coercing women into sex. And I know that happens because I've seen it happen. Put it this way. There are people who chair cons I've been to who've done that. And it's come out, and that's come out much later after the fact. And they got ruined for it, rightfully so. But the point is, they took advantage of the culture. They took advantage of the subculture in order for personal gain. And I feel like it would be a good thing to stop those people at the gate. But as long as we're on this anti-gatekeeping kick, all we're gonna end up with is more people like that. More people who are willing to harass other people into attempting suicide. More people who are willing to so take advantage of the culture.
The wrong type of fan art.
Yeah, exactly. So people who are willing to more people like that one bitch from that one volunteer out of Anime Expo who got that one artist kicked out for completely unrelated artwork and then tried to go after Faku but then quit.
The
more
only thing
people like
I'd
that.
say is, but with the only exception to artwork is the people who get into doing anime fan work, but also have to do the identity politics thing and all that. And it's like,
Well, I'm saying fine if they want to do that. All I'm saying is let's maybe not harass people into suicide.
well, yeah,
Let's maybe,
obviously.
or moreover, let's maybe not tolerate those people in the culture, in the subculture. That that's literally my only argument. But as long as we're so again pathologically afraid of gatekeeping, quote unquote, we're not going to do that. We're not going to enforce
The other
these
thing,
minimum standards to where, okay, you can be part of this subculture, but you have to have a respect for it, and you have to not only be in it for personal gain.
I think, of course, the other thing is don't attack people just because they have their whatever fetishes in their fandom.
Well, yeah, that's part of respecting the subculture, because that's part of that by itself is you respect the subculture, you respect the people in the subculture, respect the people who built the subculture, respect how the subculture was built, and you even see that at some of the highest levels within the industry. Because how much do you see fan subbing getting vilified, regardless of its instrumental role in creating this subculture in the first place?
Oh, of course. Even though fan subbing isn't nearly the level that it used to be.
Well, yeah, it's not nearly the level as it used to be, and to be fair, it's not as necessary as it used to be. But it's still worth it to understand where it came from, understand the role it played, and respect it. But you see a whole lot of people out here disrespecting fan subbers. You'll see people, and people again, high levels of the industry, calling people out for being fake fans because they use fan subs.
It's like, well, you're just pirating. It's like, what if you can't get the thing anymore? What now?
Yeah, what are we supposed to do with Evangelion? What are we supposed to do? Pay $100-something for the DVD release? Some people are willing to do that, and
Or if
even
you're
if you
like me,
do,
trying to find.
all that's just going to the person selling it. None of that's going back to the industry. What do we do?
Or if you're like me, trying to find the thing that only got released as a as a laser disc.
Oh yeah.
It's
So,
like, what do you want me to do? Track down the laser disc and the laser disc player?
and again, even if you did that, all that would just go to the retailer. None of that would make it back to the
Yeah, I
industry.
think it's that they don't really think that far through when you confront them with that.
No, I think it's that, especially the people, especially as far as the people actually going about, because I'm thinking about a few specific people. Their part of it is that they have a vested interest in people not watching fan subs and using official means, which is fair. And part of that is that it's this kind of holier than thou thing where it's, oh, I'm supporting the industry, when in reality
It sounds like
it's,
virtue signaling.
yeah, it's kind of it's kind of a it's they push the perspective that not uh legal streaming and disc releases are like the only way to support anime,
Yeah, even though it's not.
even though it really is not. And even though, like, how many people, there's just hypothetical question, how many people do you know who have active subscriptions to Crunchyroll and also download fan subs. It's more than you'd think.
Well, I like download.
And like how many?
I like archiveness. Like this.
Well, yeah,
there's a lot of stuff that will ever come out.
Well, yeah. Well, how many people will download fan subs and then also buy the disc release when that comes out and buy the figures when they come out and whatnot? So if we want to quantify, if we want to quantify value to the fandom based on that, then we can't. Then what we're gonna end up with is we're not just vilifying people who download fan subs, because plenty of them also buy figures, also buy disc releases. Plenty of them also buy these $8 trillion Aniplex releases, and they're fine with that. What we end up with is, if that's gonna be the criteria, if the criteria is gonna be how much do you support the anime fandom, and we're gonna derive value that way, then a lot of the holier than thou people who only do legal streaming, but set themselves up on a pedestal because that's what they do, are going to end up just above people who only pirate. As a matter of fact, let me bring up a news article here, because this is something that it's not so much that it's been misreported, but I don't think people really have a very clear understanding of how this breaks down. Because it was a couple months ago. Crunchyroll put out its yes, here we go. Crunchyroll had reported that it contributed $100 million to the anime industry, which sounds like a lot, but to put it in perspective, when we're talking about the anime industry, we're talking not just about the studios that produce this stuff, but we're talking about the production committees that finance this stuff. So if we're going by that metric, between when did Crunchyroll go legit? 2008? Yeah. So for over 10 years, we're talking a $100 million contribution distributed over countless companies. So $10 million per year distributed over a whole bunch of companies. At the end of the day, individually, that doesn't add up to much.
No.
And that's not to shit on Crunchyroll for contributing to the anime industry, because I think that's fantastic. But a lot of people are having this real big fanfare about it because we're continuing on this paradigm where legal streaming is the only way to support the anime industry, and they're on this fanfare about it, and I don't think they really understand how this breaks down. And I think a lot of them are still in this mindset where they they literally don't know what a production committee is.
No, they don't.
So it breaks down that way, and at the same time, I feel like we also don't get the metrics for like anime figure sales in the US. Like it's like anyway, not to not to vilify them, but again, it's in Crunchyroll's best interest to laud how much they're contributing to the anime industry, which is fair. But what I don't want is the continuation of this idea that legal streaming is the only way or even the best way to support the anime industry. I would, because when was the last time you heard I don't know, Funimation promoting anime figures? Yeah, it's because it's not in their best interest to do so. They're not involved with the companies putting out these anime figures.
No.
And actually, that actually gets me to another issue I've been sort of investigating for the last while. And I'm not sure if I've mentioned this on the show before, but I think I might have nailed down my issue with the way Crunchyroll and Funimation do their marketing. And with the anime awards thing kind of in particular.
Oh, yes.
I feel like the way they're going about things is less about importing the existing anime culture, that the perfectly good existing anime culture over in its native country, and more about creating a simulacrum of anime culture over here that they can control. Because and you see this especially with the anime awards. I'm not convinced that the anime awards is something that we need to do. So I'm just not convinced. Not convinced. Especially given the way it's handled. And another thing, this bothers me. So I go on Crunchyroll and I try to watch some anime, and the player half the time, like 75% of the time, doesn't work properly for me. So I'm upset about that. Meanwhile, Crunchyroll's expending all this anime, spending all this money putting on this anime award stuff and doing this, doing their own convention and whatnot. I'm sitting here with my hands in the air saying, oh, okay, you got a whole bunch of resources to blow on award shows and conventions, but can't make your web player work correctly for everyone. Meanwhile, it's like any other web player I try to use works. YouTube works. Anime Strike / Amazon Prime works.
Which one doesn't work?
HIDIVE works. Crunchyroll doesn't work properly for me.
Oh, Crunchyroll.
Yep. Even though every other one works properly for me, as a matter of fact, HIDIVE works well. I forget I'm watching a stream. So I'm saying it. And incidentally, HIDIVE's not really involved in all this culture building that Crunchyroll is. And it's an issue for me because as someone who I like to think I know quite a bit about anime. Like I like to think I'm well versed in the culture surrounding this stuff. At least more well versed than your average bear. So as someone at that level, it's kind of patronizing to me to see companies who are producing this stuff treat it like there's supposed to be some sort of difference between anime culture over here and anime culture over there, and treat it like they get to build what anime culture over here is. Like, well, I'm not keen on that.
A lot of people have been trying to do that over the years. Like, you ever see, like, Otaku USA magazine, the stuff that they're and not popular at all.
That's one thing. It's one thing for like media outlets to do that. And honestly, I'm okay with media outlets trying to direct culture, especially Otaku USA and stuff like that, because they're highly ineffectual at doing that. But I'm not okay with the people who are supposed to be providing this content doing a whole lot of culture building. That bothers me, because it's like I don't need I don't I don't need Crunchyroll or Funimation doing a whole lot of driving hype and driving hype for particular shows over other shows, or
Well, it was
doing
also
that stuff.
remember my complaint a couple years during when they were doing the price down reissues, and they had and I'm not I have no issue with price down reissues of said shows, but the just the ad campaign, and like the whole you're gonna buy it now, right?
Oh
Right?
yeah, it's patronizing.
Yeah, it's like, dude, no. Yes, it's nice that it's cheap, but you don't have to show, like, look how cheap it is. You're saving. Look how much you're gonna. It's like, look, yeah, it's exactly what you said, patronizing.
It's incredibly patronizing, because it's like I I I get it. I get that you're okay. You're re-releasing the show for a lot cheaper. I get it. I feel like if anyone really wanted the show, they would have bought it in the first place. And now that it's cheap, you don't need to emphasize how cheap it is. People who missed out on the first time will absolutely get it now. That's why I double dipped on Strike Witches.
Yes, same.
So, there's no need for the patronizing marketing, but it there aren't enough people who feel patronized by that is the case. Like, there aren't enough people who know enough about the culture to feel patronized by the way it's being marketed by the two biggest companies in the industry over here. So as a result, we get this issue where I feel like the anime the anime production companies over here, like the anime licensing firms and whatnot, that come over here to put Japan stuff out, don't they're not marketing to the people who know the most about anime.
Yeah, well, look, put it this way. Like DBZ and how they handle DBZ with the oh, we know better. We know better than, what the fans want. We put the show out in letterbox, even though it's not a letterbox show. It's like,
Yeah, that's well, yeah, it's purely because there aren't enough people who, one, will call them out for it, and two, will swear off of their releases if they continue fucking up.
it's like it's like they've already I forgot what I was going to say.
Because guarantee you, if half of DBZ, Jesus Christ, if half of the people out here buying DBZ DVDs or DBZ Blu-rays were to say, you know what, I'm not gonna buy your stuff. I'm not gonna buy your stuff anymore, Funimation, until you fix this problem that you've had for a while with this particular release. Guarantee you that it either it'd be fixed, or the problem would escalate to the point where it'd be a significant problem.
Or again, my big issue was releasing that Lucky Star Blu-ray and pretending like there was no issue. It's like, did you like? I mean, granted, I heard the Japanese release was like that too, but then they should have released what was clearly a flawed product. It was a flawed
yeah.
product.
I'm with you.
And now again, I'm not all down on Funimation like you because they've done some fantastic release, and I was fine with
Well,
the.
don't get me wrong. I'm not fronting on Funimation. They've done some fantastic stuff. So don't get me wrong. My issue though is that they continuously do things that should absolutely have been prevented and could have been prevented, should have been prevented, but they didn't. Because what it comes down to is that they're, to some extent, they don't respect the people buying some of their releases. Because otherwise they wouldn't have fucked up the dubs they did in that way.
I chalk it up to like a complacency.
They shouldn't be complacent, VZ.
But
chalk it up to whatever you want. That shouldn't have happened. That's a never event. It should never happen.
They think they're the top game, but
they are the top game, which is why they're able to do that, and which is why because would any other company get away with that?
No.
Yeah, no, because no other company's fucking up like that. Sentai Filmworks, nothing. Discotech, nothing.
Only
Right Stuff and Nozomi, nothing.
Only in that transitional year from ADV to Sentai Filmworks did they have a few mess ups.
Yeah, and now they're fine. They put out fantastic releases. Meanwhile, Funimation Top Dog is doing whatever they want, and that's why that in particular is why I'm not buying anything from them until I see a commitment. Because they are Top Dog. And because that, I feel like any other company, you could significantly complain and that problem would be fixed. But Funimation is repeated, and honestly, it's not just the dubs either. There was that whole big thing with I think it was the Code Geass Blu-rays that they were fucked up and they had to have a huge recall for those.
Oh God. I didn't hear anything.
I'm just fucking glad I have the old Bandai release for the first series, because that's unacceptable.
It's weird what shows they do. Like, I don't care anymore because buying the limited edition's like super expensive now. They've really did. It's all you're getting is an extra cardboard box, and it's like $20 more. Like they have the rail edition and then the premium limited edition. And it's weird what shows they choose to get. And you would think Love Live Sunshine would have been one of those shows to get the premium, because Love Live is huge. It's like one of the biggest things. But no, it just got a regular release. And it's like, are you not paying attention to what,
Shimonetta got a limited. Well, Shimonetta got a limited edition release for some reason.
Which one?
Shimonetta.
Oh, Shimonetta. Yeah, well, yeah, that's a show that nobody cared about in Japan. It had meme status for when it was running in here, but nobody talks about it anymore.
Which is a shame because I thought it was pretty good, but I mean it is kind of weird how some shows that would really lend themselves to having higher limited edition or special edition releases, stuff like that, get completely looked over, while Shimonetta, which very good show, but to be fair, performance wise, it was an also ran, gets a nice big box limited edition release. Quite frankly, I really have no idea what the fuck Funimation's doing. I really don't.
No, I actually want to take a look real fast, like what recent limited edition ones are coming out, because that kind of tells you where the things are.
Yeah, because it's just tough to understand where their head is at when they're fucking up their dubs, they're fucking up their discs in some respects, and their decisions for limited editions are questionable at best. Because I mean, I'm looking through right now, and I'm saying, all right, Keijo,
Yeah, that
yeah,
got limited.
sure.
It's like that got limited. It's like really.
Well, that had more meme status than Shimonetta, to be fair.
I would say at the same time. Yeah. Oh well, that was another show that like Japan didn't care for.
Oh
By
yeah,
the way,
yeah.
and I know the U.S. market and the Japanese market are two different things. I get
They're
that.
they're they're more similar than people like to give it credit. There are some shows that get big here that don't get big in Japan, but not that much bigger. Like Orange, that's getting a limited edition release. IBO, which is reasonable. 91 Days, which I don't even remember. Myriad Colors Phantom World, which looked nice, but does anyone remember a thing about that anime except that part in that one episode where the girl bounced her breasts up and down to get under the limbo bar?
Right. I actually like that show, but I know what you're saying.
Oh, not to shit on the show, but who out here is still on Myriad Colors Phantom World?
They're releasing but just as a regular release, got Kure.
Yeah, that's another show that I don't remember a whole hell of a lot about.
These releases, see, that's another thing. Funimation's releases for their standard are too much.
What, they're like too expensive?
Yeah, they're like 48 on Right Stuff. Like,
I think that's pretty reasonable, actually.
mm.
What? That's for like the whole series, $48.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is that
I'd pay.
unlimited?
I would absolutely pay $48 for a good anime.
Is that a limited version of Interviews with Monster Girls?
All right, now, and like, this is not to completely shit on Funimation. They've made some very good decisions with some limited editions, like Outlaw Star. Yeah, I can absolutely see that one coming out in a collector's edition.
Because that's a nostalgia thing. That's a nostalgia thing.
Nostalgia, and also it's also a good anime. There's also legit. So like the big three from that era are Cowboy Bebop, Outlaw Star, and Trigun.
And Gundam Wing.
Gundam Wing to an extent, but that's sort of something completely different.
Oddly enough, I didn't really see much of Outlaw Star, but I did watch the spin-off show, all of the spin-off show, Angel Links.
I keep forgetting that Outlaw Star and Angel Links are in the same universe.
You know, and of course I watched it for the most shallow of the reasons.
Of course,
because that's the way I am.
But no, I'm actually in the middle of a rewatch of Outlaw Star because of those three I mentioned, it's easily my favorite. Because it's got the most interesting world and all that kind of stuff. It's like so the hierarchy goes as follows: it's Outlaw Star's number 1, Cowboy Bebop's number 2, and Trigun's number 3 of those three that I mentioned. Yeah, that I see is reasonable to have a collector's edition of, but for other stuff, it's weird to me, and I can't figure out Funimation's thought process because some of the decisions they make just make no sense to me. and then once again, some of the decisions they make just make me mad, and that's the reason I'm not buying from them anymore until I see a commitment to at least better dub releases. Not like this isn't even to mention all the stuff they had with like the Code Geass discs or the Lucky Star release, which is probably not their fault, but something should have been said.
It's not their. It's up to a point. It's like, but someone should have looked at that and say this is unreleasable.
Yeah, it's my same issue with when Netflix put Tiger and Bunny on this thing and removed all of the product placement. It's like someone who knows anime at that organization should have looked at that and said, this flies in the face of everything this anime stands for. We can't release it this way. So likewise, someone at Funimation should have looked at that Lucky Star release and said, this is unreleasable. We can't release it like this.
The ratio of good to bad releases is there's much better good releases now than ever than there are, because as the buyer of like DVDs from like from the earlier era, watching some of those things on like a high it's some of that stuff is unwatchable.
Oh yeah, and I'll 100% agree with you on that. But Funimation is making some unforgivable mistakes. Again, these are never events. This should never happen.
I get that, but I'm just saying, there's always going to be at least the one company that kind of doesn't do what needs to be probably done. But
well, yeah, but it shouldn't be the biggest company in the industry.
Yeah, well, it's that complacency. Sometimes when you think the company that's at the biggest gets complacent because they don't think they have to work as hard as, even though they should. But I'm just saying that,
and that's why I'm not buying the shit anymore. Because at that point, you're taking advantage of the consumer. You're taking advantage of the idea that, oh, these people they don't care about whether or not our releases are quality, or whether or not our releases show a blatant disrespect for the people buying our stuff. They're gonna buy it anyway. That's their mentality, or at least that's the mentality they project when they do this kind of bullcrap, where they'll just release stuff with all this stuff, all this blatantly partisan bullshit in their dubs, and they'll release it like that because who cares? They'll buy it anyway. Who cares? They'll subscribe to our freaking streaming service anyway.
Well, not that I'm gonna buy it anyway, but I will have to know when Maid Dragon comes out how that they're gonna handle that with the if they kept the dub that they had, or they're gonna change it like Prison School.
They'll probably change it like Prison School just due to the backlash, and nothing will be said. Because they've been radio silent on that since the Prison School broadcast dub dropped, save for that one bleeding heart tweet they made about how harassment isn't okay. And I know we disagree in the anime community sometimes, but it's not all right to harass and threaten people, shielding the people who did wrong by the consumers in the anime community. And so yeah, we're not gonna hear anything. We're not gonna hear them acknowledge their wrongdoing. And that's why even if they do fix it, I'm not buying it. Even if they do fix it, I'm not gonna capitulate like I did with Prison School. Because now I feel like an idiot for having bought Prison School after they fixed it. Because they obviously.
But what would it take you to get to buying again if they
a commitment to? I want to hear them. Anyone speaking for Funimation, I want to hear them commit to improving the quality of their dubs. I want to hear them admit some wrongdoing in the past and commit to better quality. Commit to dubs that don't disrespect the audience. Dubs that aren't just a mouthpiece for some writers fucking political philosophy, or just hating on who are invariably some of the people who might end up buying this stuff. So I don't want that to be a mouthpiece. I don't want their dubs to be a mouthpiece for that. And I want to hear them admit wrongdoing and commit to better quality. And I realize that might result in me never buying a Funimation release again, ever. And I'm willing to make that sacrifice because this is important to me. It's ridiculous. Once is happenstance, twice is coincidence, 3 times is enemy action. All right. So it's happened 3 times at the very least. So sorry, I'm not doing it. Sorry, Funimation. Improve the quality of your dubs, and I will. And because I can think of 5 shows right now that I'd absolutely go out and buy the moment that I see a commitment to improve the quality of the dubs. Also, and not a requirement, but I'd like to see the people responsible for these line changes fired, gone. If you can't do your job, then you shouldn't be in that job. And part of your job is, and as far as I'm concerned, your job isn't to
change
put your own partisan bullshit into these anime dubs. You didn't make the show. It's not your show to change.
Well, to me,
sorry to these people if that's a problem to them, but what are you gonna do? Except do better job.
Your own show with those. See how far. Because in other news, Toys R Us is closing, liquidating in the U.S.
Yep.
I saw a video of just the mounds of unsold Star Wars stuff.
Oh yeah,
Star Wars is unsellable in 2018.
That's why I may never buy from Funimation again, and I'm okay with that. Because I'm not gonna deal with this shit anymore if it means that I'm supporting a company that does the things Funimation has done to their dubs. Not gonna do it. Sorry. Anything else?
Anything else? Billy Harrington died.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Dude got his own Figma.
Still think that's hilarious.
It's like living the dream. It's like they make a Figma of you.
That's the real measure of success.
It's like you get a Figma or an Android made. Either you or your character, your OC character.
Yeah. Well, because I've started, and that started to become a thing now. Because I remember seeing it at in the Wonderfest thing. This one artist, I'm blanking on the name, but he makes a lot of really cool art about schoolgirls in powered assist suits, where it's the kind of the powered exoskeleton, and they've got giant firearms and submachine guns and all that. It's kind of like Little Armory, but a bit more futuristic. And that artist is having not only a Figma, but a scale figure made.
Oh, I know
one
what
of
you're
his
you're
characters.
talking about the one We Go or something.
I'm not sure. I think it's
Like the
FP Works, but I'm not sure.
It's like the wall. It's called We Go or something like that. It's like this. It's like the suit, and yeah, they made one that was like in scale with Figma.
Right.
It's like that costs like probably like this big.
Well, no, it's not that kind of thing. It's more of a realistic powered exoskeleton. So what it is it's got a bunch of hard points that attach to like your wrist and around the back and stuff. And it's not so much a suit as it is just
All right, well, I
powered.
think it's something else then.
Yeah. But yeah,
was-
that person's getting a Figma and a scale figure of one of his characters. All right. Anything else you want to close out the show? You don't have mail.
I think that's it for now.
Yeah. Tom Enforcer Anubis gets mad at Funimation again, except less mad this time, and not at VZ. That's the show.
That said, I am waiting for my thing of Valkyrie Drive.
You and only you.
Oh, that's fun.
Yep.
Hey, listen, it was on sale. I couldn't resist.
I don't give a fuck if it's $1. I'm not buying anything from Funimation ever again.
That's you and that's you.
I don't even like. I don't even buy used Funimation. Like I don't want to own anything more from Funimation than I already have.
All right.
The email address is ntrradio@gmail.com. The website is ntrradio.net. Check out VZ stuff, vzmk2moemekagatai.wordpress.com. Check out my stuff at iashike.moe. You can hit up shinikiba.moe for all your half-naked anime girl figures. In addition, you should also check out the Bakagaijin show and Otaku Midnight, because both of those shows are really good. Hit me up on Twitter at Anubis, VZ up on Twitter at VZMK2, KGods up on Twitter, even though he's not here, at immortal_KGods, and the show up on Twitter at NTR_radio. Am I forgetting anything? I don't think I am.
No.
In that case, I'm Tom Enforcer Anubis.
And I'm VZ Mark II.
And even though we get accused of gatekeeping every time we say it, this is NTR Radio.